Enemy Below is an interesting map because it's very easy with spikes of difficulty, mostly coming in the form of storm vermin patrols. So I recommend taking a weapon that's good versus storm vermin like the repeater, but don't take haste because that's overpowered. This map does not have a lot of chests, but it can be run very quickly. I find that pubs tend to drag their feet in a lot of parts in this map, and that makes the map a lot harder than it needs to be. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people who play the game a lot more than me have different perspectives and might disagree, and that's okay, but this is just the result of my observations. So the first part of the map is very linear. There aren't many choices to make. Go left to the first chest because there'll be items there, and continue to stay left. Also, you can jump on the lid of the chest and jump on the barrel and get back to the way you came. I pop a speed potion to get as much distance from the horde as I can, and I go straight for the first Grim. There's no reason to stay and fight. Now when I get down to the bottom, I wait till it's relatively clear and I can make a clear jump to the back here. It's more important to me to grab the second tome, because the second tome is when you have to go the furthest out of your way to get, so I want to be the person who grabs that and wastes as little time as possible rather than waiting on the pubs to do it. If you have to fight here, the best way to do it is to back into this choke point. Make sure to watch your back for adds from behind. Now usually I would jump and get this chest on the right, but I have bots so I don't worry about it. I go straight to tome 2. Now if you happen to have a tome, drop it off for the health pack here on your left and then go get the tome. A rat in front of you can force you off of the catwalk, so make sure to push them all out of your way. So for this part you go left, straight, chest, Grim. Even if you go for the chest first, you'll probably make it to the Grim before the pubs do. Now if you have bots, you can grab tome 3 through the wall. If not, you're going to want to go on the left hand side and you're going to want to move quickly because this is a common patrol spawn, and if you're moving fast you can skip this patrol. I find a lot of teams fail right here because they try to hold off the rats in the middle of the open and then get surrounded and die. Now if you do have to grab the tome, you don't have bots, stay on the left side the whole way. Stay away from this catwalk. The catwalk, there's almost always a storm vermin there and you have to deal with rats above and rats below. It's much more dangerous than sticking to the edges. If you do have to go grab the tome, you're going to have to backtrack a little for the chest. The path on the right is shorter and has fewer rats to fight. I go up and to the right, it drops you directly on top of the chest, and you don't have to fight any of the rats on the left hand side of this clearing. Always snipe the storm vermin first. Those storm vermin can be a real problem if they're not taken care of before you go down, because there's an infinite amount of rats that are going to spawn while you're down here, and having to carry the barrels and deal with the storm vermin in front of you and rats behind you can be a tricky challenge. Also to note, you cannot drop those barrels on the bridge. If you drop them on the bridge, very often they'll roll off, so you have to drop them either before the bridge or after the bridge. Usually I take the left one first, but I don't this time because of that gas rat. Here's a clip of a jump you can make to save yourself a couple seconds. Now this part, in general, you want to do this as quickly as you can. Sometimes you find pubs and they think it's best to fight the rats. Just let them fight the rats. Instead, focus on running the barrels and getting through this part as quickly as possible. I expect this to be a contentious idea, but my opinion is that if you don't do the event, your pubs are just going to die to attrition anyway. That's not to say that you should abandon your pubs, but you need to be leading from the front. Take care of any healing or ammo or whatever you need to do. Take care of all that stuff before you do the last one. I do it backwards in this one because I'm the only player, so I'm not worried about getting left behind in the escape sequence. So the escape sequence I find to be the most difficult part for most pubs aside from storm vermin patrols. And the reason is because pubs like to fight. They think that their best option is to sit still and to just try to fight off the horde. But you can't do that in this event. You have to push forward and you have to do it as quickly as you can. You'll notice I shoot the rats that are convenient to shoot, but otherwise I just push rats out of the way. I'm not trying to kill every rat in here. I'm just trying to clear this event as soon as I possibly can. A lot of times pubs will turn around and they'll throw their bombs at the rats behind them just to rack up kills. There's really no reason to do that. You want to keep your bombs for this event because sometimes you'll find a horde might spawn in front of you from both sides of the tunnel, and so if you have a horde in front and a horde behind, that's when you need to use your bomb to clear the rats in front so you can continue to push forward. Now when you get here, go to the left hand side, and if you have bots, move quickly so that your bots will teleport to where you are. They can have a hard time climbing up that ladder. And that's it. This map can be done very quickly. My average time is around 10 minutes with bots, but I find pubs tend to drag their feet, and so it usually takes me closer to 15 minutes with pubs on Nightmare. The strategy I use is to try to go quickly. You don't need to stop and kill every rat. If the rat isn't blocking your progress to completing the level, don't kill it. I want to fight as few rats as possible. I want to clear the map as quickly as possible so I can roll the dice and I can get as much loot as possible. Because let's face it, looking cool is the most important thing in this game. So I'm sure not everyone will agree with my strategy. I'm not trying to say that it's the best strategy, it's just what works for me.